Greetings, this is my how I built it video for Dark Helmet here, so named because of a passing resemblance to Lord Helmet. It is a gateship, which is a ship that goes through the gate. Stop me if I'm getting too technical here. So it's a ship that's small enough to squeeze through the gate, and it's a combat ship. Here is the original prototype. This is a bit of a prototyping guide too. So originally this one was a much longer ship. That connector there used to connect to many a thing, and I tried to fly it through the gate, and of course it didn't work. So it got sawed down and chopped until it was less than 17 small blocks long, and then suddenly it could pass through the gate, and it revealed some of the gate secrets to me, and it was landed and then left here in the Museum of Gateship Prototypes. Never got to shoot anything. That's my little gate template that shows how wide a gate is in blocks. So this is the Mark II gateship. So this is a bit more purpose built. It's got the big reactor, it's got an energy shield generator of the large variety, it's got 4 lasery cannons, it's fast and manoeuvrable and got a decently long fuel tank. It can zip around for a while. It's got some decent firepower, but its defense is completely reliant on that one shield generator. But it was quite fun to fly and shoot things with it, and there'll be some sort of video of that happening somewhere. And then we move on to the Mark III, which ended up becoming a real hodgepodge as it got modified and modified again. But it's got some of the ideas that lasted. It's got a vertically mounted tank, which works better for these ships. It's got the guns focused on the bottom mostly. 2 large reactors was excessive. I tried to shoehorn in lots of little tanks, but you need 2 big tanks to have a decent fuel supply, it seems. But it's got a bunch of the ideas I was trying to fill out and use the width. So I knew 17 was as long as I could go, and I was getting to grips with 7.5 being about as wide as I could go, and trying to squeeze lots of features into that size of area. So this one's got 3 shield generators, which means it's quite tanky, and it's got 5 guns worth of firepower, I think, or maybe 6. So it's got firepower and tankiness, but didn't have the long range and the nimbleness of the Mark II. So the idea was to combine these two, average them out a bit to get the range and the speed into this thing here. So it's got 4 of those big energy shield generators. It's got a large reactor and some small ones, and a bubble shield generator on the back there. So it's quite mod heavy. You need 3 mods to build this, because a vanilla gateship is a bit pointless in some ways. A Stargate is a mod in itself, and if you want to squeeze a lot of good stuff through the gate in a small package, then you really want to go with some powerful modded blocks and relatively little vanilla and armor. So this is it zipping through a gate, going from Mars to Titan. Slip straight on through the gate, attack a pirate base, generally rampage a bit. What's this? I think it's a frontier outpost pirate base. So I'm not sure if they've got a rocket launcher on one end, but I think it's mostly just Gatling guns on those. So I've got the bubble shield up there. Reasonable maneuverings. It's still a bit heavy, this one, but it's very tanky. It's got that bubble shield powered up. Squeeze through that gate, there we go. And it's got 4 of those big energy shield generators from the energy shield mod. And it's got, I think 7 MPEX laser guns on the bottom there. Very well positioned for attacking ground bases like that one. So that's my final gateship design in action. It's a matter of shoehorning as much firepower as you can into 17 blocks long by 7.5 wide. So it started with 2 big fat tanks mounted vertically with a connector on the bottom of the back one. And so the only real innards in this ship is this line of conveyors through the middle here, where it comes out of the tank, the big tank, and it goes through a small one and through connectors. So this connector stack will then go up because it plugs into the back of the cockpit, thusly with a little cross, and then plugs into the large reactor, so you can feed all the reactors through the cargo in the cockpit, and then another small fuel tank goes in there, so some small reactors get attached and some batteries go in that slot in the underside. But that's the only real hidden components in this ship. It's so small you can see most of the bits from the outside. So a little bit of fast forward thruster adding. All the thrusters are in this little mini nacelle that goes on the side here. I'd love to put some half-size plating over the ends so I don't have a bunch of conveyors visible on the side, but as soon as I do I go over the size limit and can't get through the gate. So it's a matter of what you can squeeze in, and so style and detailing tend to take a back seat. Those front guns didn't work very well, so they got chopped off and I just went with bottom guns. These side features here get chopped off as well. There's 2 hydrogen tanks on each side of the cockpit and the sides of the reactor here, where I'm mucking around with batteries and reactors there. They get the chop, and I just go for more baby hydrogen tanks. So it's 2 large hydrogen tanks, 6 small hydrogen tanks. I think I end up with 9 small reactors dotted around. There you go, you can see that there's hydrogen tanks in there a bit. So I add some token armor on the top so it doesn't look like a complete box of plumbing. But yeah, it'd be nice to cover up those sides, but we can't. But it's got very, very, very strong shields. 7 guns worth of firepower, which is very nice. These lasers are very effective. And that's mostly all there is to it. It flies around, it tanks, and it shoots things. It's got a big reactor, so it can supply that bubble shield, it can supply the energy shields, it can supply all the laser beams. And by using all these modded parts, it's nice and compact and it fits into that gateship minimum size. I've been thinking about building some vanilla gateships, and it's very limited amount of useful gear. So as I say, the only hidden parts is just a supply of conveyors that goes from these big tanks forward to the cockpit, so the whole thing is plumbed. There is no oxygen tank for the pilot, you just have to carry some bottles in the cockpit and some uranium in the cockpit, and then you're fine, because the cockpit will just feed uranium through to all the reactors in the whole shebang. And you are plumbed for hydrogen to keep your tank recharged, but you just have to BYO oxygen. In a little ship like this, it's often the case when you're tight on space. But overall, it's just built out of fuel tanks and guns and shield generators. Very small and quick to build if you know how you want to arrange all your blocks. But those were the 3 ships that led me to this design. In the background there, some fiddling around and some prototyping, how to squish things down into a small space, and how big a ship in space I could get away with. So that's how you build a gateship that looks like Dark Helmet. Hope you liked it.